art. Love it or hate it, art is a force that ripples through our lives and affects everyone. It's treated as a prime distinction between human civilization and other animals. The ability to create art. Now I have a few images of art pieces here. What do you think about these art pieces? Are they complex? Are they simple? Do you think you can create them? There's one thing common between all these artworks shown to you just now. It's that none of them were created by human beings. None of them. They were all created using a computer and AI. AI? Yes, AI. Artificial intelligence. And before you say, a computer made this, art is dead, let's talk about it. First, hi, I'm Aryann Jhaveri. I'm currently in grade 10. And I've had a growing interest in art, and more specifically digital art, all my life. And the recent changes in the art world have made me reevaluate a few things. Technological advancements have made it possible for AI-generated art. And I want to talk to you about how it's just another tool in art creation, but unlike anything that's come before. See, earlier this year, I'd heard about something, a tool of some sort. A tool that could create complex or simple pieces of art just by typing a prompt. As my curiosity grew, I decided to play with this tool more. Creating fascinating and beautiful pieces of art within minutes. The range of art I could create was limitless. With different styles, the AI generator could never run out of possibilities. However, what I didn't know at that time was that the novice compositions that I created by prompting the AI generator were just the tip of the iceberg for AI art and the art scene in general. A special thing about humans has been our ability to produce art. It's long been a rich part of our history and has been a significant part in most cultures. It's reflected on time periods, it's captured parts of history in creative ways. However, an important part of art is that it's always evolved. It's always changed, it's always allowed new styles or types of art to grow and adapt to the world constantly. Art has always had its purpose and been shaped by the cultural impacts of our time. Examining the past movements of art throughout history can allow us to see how AI generation is just next in the trajectory of art. Let's start with the Realism movement. The Realism movement was an important movement in art because unlike the Renaissance or Romanticism eras of art, where there's a higher want or appreciation for beauty, the Realism movement aimed to show life like it was. Not so much of a fantasy and sometimes even ugly. Because of the time period the Realism movement was in, the Industrial Revolution, Realism focused on the representation of real life, which meant that some images were gritty, including paintings of laborers and workers. It was a cultural shift in the attitude towards society. However, soon enough, there was a shift in the art scene. It was thought to be swayed because of a new invention, the photograph. The photograph changed how art was perceived. It pushed a lot of artists to create more realistic art and was used as a tool to create and act as a near medium of art. It allowed portraits to be created of anybody, not just the wealthy. And as art evolved, photography had its own art style. And not only that, it allowed Impressionism to be put in the spotlight. Some artists realized that they didn't have to compete with photography on realistic images, and instead decided to express themselves to the reactions or impressions of the world. It set itself apart from realistic art. It incorporated brushstrokes to present movement and mostly consisted of scenery or situations. Another similarity is the rise of digital art through computers. In the 1980s, as computers became more common, digital art started to rise. Early digital art consisted of geometrical shapes in different positions. But as art evolved, digital art made art more accessible for artists. It expanded their toolbox, allowing them to further express themselves using different mediums of art. For example, mixed media. So, what's next? What's the next stage? What's the next tool? What's the next change? Well, it's getting quite clear that it's AI. The ability to create flawless and beautiful pieces of art through just by typing our words. But first, how does AI art work? Well, just like we humans are able to identify and understand things, the AI generator works similarly. But it's as if you were trapped inside a museum your whole life and only had images to learn from. For example, the AI is given a whole range of images with descriptions of what the image shows next to them. Like an orange pencil. The AI is given similar descriptions to other images. And if, unlike humans, to further understand what a pencil is, we can move it around in our hand, see what it is, the AI has to find another image of a pencil to further understand what a pencil is. Pattern recognition allows AI to identify what an image shows and what it means. And then to create an image, the AI does the opposite. Now, instead of identifying the image using the description, it uses the prompt to create an image. This allows the creation of fascinating art pieces to our words. It allows normal people to create complex and creative pieces of art. The accessibility of creation of art is unbounded. What AI art allows us to do, or allows everyone to do, is create complex art. Regardless of you being an artist or not, AI gives you the tools to create mesmerizing pieces of art. Ideas can now be transferred into images. Thoughts can be produced into something more. However, there are some ethical concerns with the use of AI art, such as the images or data that the AI is fed are from artists that aren't compensated or some who didn't want their art on the AI generator. Because the AI uses machine learning, it has to use existing data and pair it up with different styles. And many artists are not happy with this AI art because they're wary and scared of its effects on the art world. And it makes sense. Technological advances are far greater than what we expected. I mean, the change is already happening. Just recently, in a state Colorado fair, it made headlines when the AI art piece won the creator for Best Emerging Artist. And the art community was enraged. There were arguments. Many people were mad about how this was allowed, how an AI or a computer was given an award. And while many artists are mad, I feel like they're overlooking the entire situation. Because the first time I tried AI art, I remember I was excited and amazed. But there was also this lingering feeling of something not being right that grew. Because I thought, what happens to humans? Won't they be affected by this? And the answer is yes, because it's scary. But isn't all change scary? Just like the photograph changed the art world and allowed for a new style of art to grow, just like the digital art made art more accessible, or even smartphones making video creation easier, AI art is similar to that. Just like a pencil can't make an illustration on its own, AI art is just a tool for creativity. And as we've discussed, the AI art being the next stage for art, the next tool, art is still going to evolve beyond that. What will it evolve into next? Who knows? But what I do know is that even though we will be scared or wary and somewhat intrigued by these changes or evolution, human art, human creativity will find a way to thrive and showcase themselves. Thank you.